This is 5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
First at 4, 2 American hostages are now safe and back in Israel after being held by Hamas for nearly 2 weeks. Just about 2 hours ago, we learned these hostages are 17-year-old Natalie Renan and her mother, Judith Renan. They are from Evanston, Illinois. Thanks so much for being here at 4. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. Hamas says it released the mother and daughter for humanitarian reasons because the mother is in poor health. Israeli military says they are now bringing them to a site in central Israel to be reunited with their family. Right now in Gaza, humanitarian crisis continues as political leaders from across the world are discussing how to provide aid to people there.
That's as Israeli politicians are peeling back what a ground invasion would look like. We want to warn you, some of the images are graphic and might be hard to watch. Mike Valerio has the latest.
Blasts cut through the darkness of the occupied West Bank as Israel Defense Forces search for alleged Hamas operatives. Israel is now warning a ground invasion of Gaza is imminent.
Our troops are ready, equipped, prepared, and armed with both ammunition and a clear mission.
The European Union is now concerned the war will overflow into other parts of the world.
The risk of a regional spillover is real. And this is exactly what Hamas was hoping to achieve. And this can derail the recent and historic rapprochement between Israel and its Arab neighbors.
Now, with fears of a humanitarian crisis in Gaza spiraling out of control, Egypt has opened the gates to the Rafah crossing. Crews are repairing and repaving roads as humanitarian aid vehicles sit and wait to enter.
The shortages are going to kill many people. It's absolutely life or death at this point.
Israel reports around 200 hostages are in the Gaza Strip, including bodies of dead loved ones being held for ransom. The majority of the hostages are believed to be alive.
All people abducted by Hamas and Islamic Jihad and in Gaza, they have to be unconditionally and immediately released. Holding hostages this way is a war crime.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
And as tensions continue in the Middle East, area advocates are bringing passionate concerns to St. Louis City Hall. Police had to escort dozens of protesters out of the Board of Aldermen chambers for disrupting the meeting. In fact, members of the Board of Aldermen introduced several different resolutions expressing solidarity with Israel and condemning Hamas. One of those resolutions in particular was met with outrage. Political editor Mark Maxwell now was there to watch it all unfold. He's at City Hall to bring us up to speed. Mark.
Brent, good afternoon. Alderman Tom Oldenburg is apologizing this afternoon, expressing regret for the pain he says his resolution caused so many of the Palestinian Americans in the chambers today before they were escorted out of that room. He says he wrote his resolution just 3 days after the October 7th Hamas terror attacks in Israel, but he made no revisions to them in the days that followed. Here's what it looked like just inside the chambers as protesters expressed pain, anguish, and outrage at Oldenburg's resolution. Many of them felt the language ignored the suffering of innocent Palestinian civilians who were killed in airstrikes or bombings that followed. President of the board, Megan Green's chief of staff, Jane Nelson, wrote us a statement and said Oldenburg's resolution was, quote, an inflammatory resolution that fails to recognize the complexity of the situation in Gaza, Israel, and the West Bank. We spoke with one Palestinian American man whose family lived in Jerusalem. He leveled several pointed accusations directly at Oldenburg as police ushered them out of the room.
They use those charge words purposefully, and of course it enrages us. Of course we have to state that Palestinians' lives matter no matter what, even if it's not going to make a difference in Gaza right away, but we will state our opinion that we're here all the way in St. Louis and we're still supporting Gaza.
The group of demonstrators wanted the Board of Aldermen to say with one clear voice there should be a ceasefire in Gaza. That's the word they wanted to see. One other resolution called on President Biden to, quote, work towards a ceasefire. A third resolution called on Israel to, quote, take every possible precaution to avoid harming civilians. All three of those different varying drafts are now advancing to the committee level. That's key because that's where these demonstrators can have their voices heard in 3-minute increments, coming before the board and telling their personal stories, how this war and conflict has affected them and their families. We'll have more on those passionate pleas tonight at 6. For now, live downtown, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
All right, Mark, thanks. Some more security is coming to the Railway Exchange Building in downtown St. Louis. The vacant building was once the flagship store for Famous Bar. St. Louis's Economic Development Agency telling us $100,000 is being invested to secure the building. It's been vacant since 2017. Leaders have called it a public safety hazard as vandals and the homeless have been making their way inside.
All right, happy Friday afternoon to you. Let's take a quick look at the Meeting of the Waters fountain. This is near City Park, now turned red for the final weekend of the City SC regular season. More on how the team is celebrating later. But let's head over to meteorologist Jim Castillo. He's here with a look at the weekend forecast and how it's all going to hold up for that final home game this weekend, Jim.
Yeah, I've got the forecast for the game time, so let's check out tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. It's a very gusty day, 76 for that high temperature. Of course, that sunset is at about 6:16, and so it's dark during the game time, at least start time, and about 63 degrees. That temperature goes down quite a bit. Northwest wind at 10 miles an hour, so beautiful weather for that. I'll let you know how warm it gets over the weekend and next week, and then some rain chances ramp up after that.
All right, Jim, thanks for that. It's been 17 days now, and the House of Representatives is still without a leader. The House is back to square one after removing Congressman Jim Jordan as the nominee. He failed to earn enough votes yet again. Several House Republicans say the plan is to hold a forum for House Speaker candidates come Monday.
The Missouri House Speaker is facing criticism today. Chief Clerk of House Dana Miller is accusing Speaker Dean Plocher of potential ethical and legal impropriety in emails sent to colleagues. Miller alleges the Speaker tried steering state business to a private contractor for political benefit. Representative Tricia Burns discussed the recent allegations on the record with Mark Maxwell. She says while she respects the Chief Clerk, she believes the Speaker is a strong leader and wants to wait for more facts on the situation.
What I have found is that when you hear stuff on social media or when something gets sunshined within a week, right, there's a setup somewhere. I think that we just have to ask more questions.
Speaker Plocher has denied accusations he used his role to benefit his campaign, but Plocher also abruptly fired his chief of staff this week. His former chief of staff was never mentioned in the concerning emails. To see more of Mark's interview with Representative Burns, you can text the word RECORD to 314-425-5355.
And still ahead, honoring African-American soldiers who died at the end of the Civil War, while Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery remembers them every year.